All right, welcome into PrizePicks on 5 here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick and at 5 Reasons Sports. We got David Ebersol. You can follow him at David W. Ebersol. Make sure you use the code 5. That's the most important thing we tell you every single time. Use that code 5, F-I-V-E. Get that initial deposit matched up to $100. There are no rollovers. It is literally free money. You put down 100, they'll give you 100. You put down 20, they'll give you 20. And then you play it how you want. Flex play, if you want to hedge it a little bit. Power play if you want to go all in. And of course, you can play lots of different sports. They got 12 different sports on there right now. And today is the day to talk about it, even though we're going to talk specifically basketball. But if you wanted to play baseball, NHL, it's all on there today, MMA, boxing. We're going to talk Final Four because there are two South Florida teams. And then we're going to talk about the Heat and the Mavericks, two of the teams that are actually playing the worst in the NBA right now. Both trying, one's trying to get in the play-in in Dallas, and the other with the Heat is trying to get out of the play-in and get up to the 6th seed, although that doesn't look likely. Let's start with the Final Four. David, we've got Miami. We've got FAU. Miami's playing the favorites right now, which would be Connecticut. FAU's playing San Diego State. Lots of different ways to play this. Lots of players on the board, although there were some I was looking for I didn't find in quite the categories I wanted. But let's start with Miami. What do you see there against UConn? Of course, this is the second game of the day.
Well, UConn's been battling some illnesses on their roster. Their star guard, Haskins, has been limited. He was at the shoot around today, but his health is in question. He's going to play, but, he might be, you have to really see how he is, over the course of the game. So I love Jordan Miller. He's been super efficient. Obviously, he threw a perfect game in the last game. So I feel like that's going to continue, and he's going to build on that performance. Even with the layoff, I still think Miami comes out. They've been doubted in every game, but Miller's been really just efficient and steady over the last two, especially. I'm going to take him over 14.5 points.
Well, I'm looking at the backcourt and also the front court. I'm looking at the big guy to get 10 rebounds today. They're going to need it. He had 4 fouls early in the game the other night, and then of course there was that controversial call that was overturned. But you take a look at where he's been, Omer. 10 rebounds. He's been over that 3 of the last 5. I'm going to play the percentages there. Got to stay out of foul trouble. Clearly, I do think the pace is going to be a little bit elevated in this game. That tends to lead to more rebounds. I'm going to say he gets double-digit rebounds. I also looked at the backcourt. I was tempted to take Wong. It's just that he's been so all over the place. I honestly think his backcourt mate has played better here over the course of the tournament overall. And so I'm going to go with Nigel Pack. He's been over 14, 3 of the 5 games. I feel like that's a fairly safe number in this game. I think both guys are going to need to get 15 plus, but I'm going to say Pack with 14. I'll go over. I really didn't have a Connecticut pick that I loved. I think Hawkins' situation throws me off a little bit. So I'll probably stay away from that side of it. What did you see on the Connecticut side?
Yeah, I was kind of the same on UConn, like you said, with the health situation. But Sonogo has been really good in the postseason, especially. And we all know Miami's not a big team. UConn's not a big team either. But like Omer on the Hurricane side, Sonogo is kind of their alpha rebounder. So I'm going to take him over 8 rebounds for Sonogo in this one.
All right, so over 8 rebounds on Sonogo. Let's pivot over to the other game. It's actually the first game of the day. FAU and San Diego State. You can see over on the 8 rebounds and 3 of the 5 there. You and I actually like the exact same thing, right? On FAU, we both like Janelle Davis.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really kind of driving that team throughout the tournament to make it this far, and I think it continues against the San Diego State team that is a little bit uncertain on the defensive end. I think FAU is going to be able to push the ball and kind of get to their spots and get their shots. So, yeah, I like Davis a lot over 20.5 PRA. And as well as Elijah Martin, I was looking at some of his numbers. But outside of them, I kind of like the big guy for FAU, Golden, who had a breakout in the last game. His rebound total is only at 7. And he's going to be the biggest guy out there by far. So I think he could easily scoop up 8 boards if I had to look at one of those FAU front court guys.
Kind of like that, too. I'm going to play Davis. You and I actually did this separately and came up with the same pick. So we have consensus on that, 20.5. Typically, when we have consensus, we do fairly well. So I'm going to say over 20.5 on points, rebounds, and assists for Janelle Davis. All right, okay, so that's the Final Four here. Again, you can play MLB, NHL. It's all on there today. But I'm going to switch over now to the NBA. Heat Mavericks, there is an issue because Bam is questionable. I would anticipate that he's going to play, but as we speak here, we're doing this at 3 in the afternoon. He's not on the board. So we don't know with him. And that tweaks some of the other numbers here a little bit. I did look at Jimmy. I'm not going to play Jimmy. I don't know what Jimmy they're getting lately, honestly. Like they kept elevating his number. He kept clearing it. I don't know about tonight. I'm going to take Hero. I'm going to go a little unconventional on this. I looked at all of his props, 2.5 free throws made. Here's the thing about Tyler, and you can see he's under 5 straight times. I saw that. David shows it to me just to make sure I know. I know he's been under 2.5 free throws made.
Can't go under forever.
Well, here's my thing. First thing, if he gets free throws, he's going to make them. Okay, so I don't have that concern. He's leading the league in free throw shooting. I just think he needs to be more aggressive overall tonight, particularly with Bam's situation in doubt. He's going to be guarded, I believe, a lot by either Tim Hardaway Jr. or Kyrie Irving. Both of those guys are guys that Tyler can get into the lane against. So I anticipate, can he have a 4-for-4 game from the free throw line? I think so. I'm going to say over 2.5. I didn't like the Jimmy props. The Gabe Vincent props scare me a little bit because I feel like this is the kind of game that might get turned over to Kyle Lowry. They need this game. Okay, they lose this game. They have no shot at getting to 6. I don't think they got much of a shot anyway. But they need this game. I would anticipate maybe Kyle gets more of the minutes tonight. So I didn't want to play Gabe. I didn't like Martin on the board tonight either. Again, I don't know what you're going to get from this Heat team. So Tyler over 2.5. Gabe was at 1.5 3-pointers, and I looked at that, but I don't trust it. So I'm going to go Tyler over 2.5. What do you like on the Heat side?
I actually do like Gabe. That was a great segue there to me. But just in the matchup with Kyrie, I think it'll go either one of two ways. Either Gabe is just gassed trying to run around with him and keep up with him, or Gabe kind of rises up a little bit and starts, bombing it from deep. But I like him over 12.5 PRA. It's just an overall low number. Gabe kind of just does a few of the little things. He could grab 2 or 3 rebounds. He could have 3 or 4 assists with 10 points. I just think 12.5, he could get that on points alone. I just feel like that number gives him a little bit of leeway. You're not so heavy on the scoring end if he's maybe doing some other things to contribute. So I'm going to take a shot on Vincent over 12.5 PRA just because it's just a low number.
I'll say this. If Bam plays, I'm going to play him because Dallas does not guard the interior. So if he plays, I'm going to play him. On the Dallas side, I'll start here. I looked at Luka's numbers. They're elevated, as they always are. Luka's had some struggles against the Heat traditionally. He's also been in town for a couple days, watching the tennis yesterday. Gets a little pudgy. I don't know. I'm going to play Kyrie. I'm going to play Kyrie over on points. I just feel there's going to be a level of aggressiveness there. He kept him in the game the last time against him when he was here with Brooklyn. Again, he's been under. Look at that, 23.5. I think he goes over tonight. The Heat tend to scheme guards out, and obviously Gabe will guard him to start. But if Kyrie gets matched up against Kyle, that's a mismatch. You'll have Caleb Martin guard him sometimes. I'm going to go, again, counter to where things have been here and play him over the 23.5. You can see he's had some games in the teens lately and only been over 1 of the last 5. But I'm going to play him over the 23.5 tonight. What do you like on the Dallas side?
Yeah, I would maybe take Luka under on the PRA at 45.5. He's been down a little bit the last couple of games. He just has some of these outlier performances that sort of bring his overall averages up. And like you said, Miami does a lot of things to kind of get in his head. So, if you maybe took an under on one of his bigger numbers, like the fantasy score even at 52.5, I could see maybe an under on one of those two. Points scare me, 29.5, because he could easily just kind of start cooking the Heat from the perimeter. So, that's one of those things, you're a little bit apprehensive about. But I agree with you on the Kyrie pick. I think he's going to have a pretty good game tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. Dallas is desperate. They're in the 11th spot right now. We know how things change so quickly in the West. They could be in the 8 before you know it. But as of right now, they're behind teams like Oklahoma City and New Orleans. New Orleans without Zion. They're behind those teams for a play-in spot, which is kind of embarrassing. And I don't know where Luka's going to be in 2 years. He'll be in Miami tonight. Thanks to Dave. Again, check out all the picks here. We post them on Twitter as well. Our baseball group is starting to post picks as well, John Anderson and that group. So check that out. They've been on the money the past couple of games. I might throw a Marlins pick up there myself as well. Have a good night, everybody. Use that code FIVE.